Hello and welcome to Sheffield Banjo Lessons, and today I have a question for you. Do you enjoy changing the strings on your banjo? No, most of us don't either, so don't worry about that. Right, but the tutorial today is going to show you a sort of more easy and straightforward way, a process that you can follow for changing the strings yourself. And it's going to finish with how to place the bridge at the end and give you a bit more structure so that it's a bit easier for you to do it as well at home. So the video is going to be split down into all the chapters below, all the different sections that you're going to need. So you'll be able to find them in the description, or you'll find them in the timeline so you can re-watch each of these components too. Maybe you can follow it alongside doing your banjo itself, or come back and re-watch whatever you need to at that point. So a question I get asked a lot by my students is, how often should I change the strings on the banjo? Now, that can be different for all of us. It really depends on how long you're playing for. Is it 5 minutes at a time, an hour at a time? Is the banjo kept in a case? Is it out? And is there humidity in the room? All these different things can affect the strings on the banjo and generally affect how often we need to change them. So a better question to ask is, well, when do I know I need to change the strings on my banjo? So you can look out for two things for this. So the first one is listen to the tone of them. So when they start out nice and bright and new, they'll be really crisp and they'll be really bright. If the sound's got a lot duller or darker and it doesn't sound as much, then it's probably an indicator that you need to think about changing the strings. So the other thing that you can look out for though is physically the string itself. If you run your finger down it, does it feel rough and not smooth? Does it look grey and not bright? These are the different sort of things you can see that are related to the string corroding from the oils in the skin. And it's generally another indicator it's time to change those strings. So keep an eye out for both of those and you'll really know when you should be changing your strings. So with that in mind, now let's take a look at how you do that. The banjo that we'll be doing this on today is a student's wonderful Gold Star GF85. It's a fantastic banjo. It's quite a sort of low professional end banjo and really feels similar to the Deering Sierra, that sort of thing, that sort of price range. It's it's great fun. And the strings that have been requested are these D'Addarios. Along with this, the equipment we're going to need is a tuner, some wire snips, if you like to use it, a string winder, and our secret weapon, Scotch tape or masking tape. Bear with me on this one, I'll show you why. So when restringing, your first inclination is usually to just get the wire snips out and start cutting the strings off. If we're wanting to make it a bit easier, we're going to change one string at a time to try and keep everything loosely in place for you. So what we'll do first is just back a little bit of tension off of the tailpiece though, just so that everything moves that little bit easier. Okay, so I'll do a close-up so you can see that now. You may have a different tailpiece to this one, but some of the instructions should be the same unless the strings just carry over, in which case don't worry about that for now. So with this one, I'm going to apply just a little bit of downwards pressure and then back off this thumb screw. And as you see, that's just lifted the tension here. Do a little more, there we go, so you can really see. And that's going to let us deal with these strings a lot easier when we want to pass them over. So now that tension's backed off, the tailpiece we have here, we're going to need to raise this part just so that we can get to the string hooks underneath. And now, this is where our secret weapon comes in of Scotch tape. What we want to try and avoid if you're really unsure about how to move these components around and not feeling super confident, is this bridge. We really want to see if we can keep the bridge more or less in the same place that it is. So instead of putting pencil marks on, if you don't like doing that to mark where the feet of the bridge go, then we can use a little bit of masking tape or scotch tape that you can just line up with the feet on the bridge, and it will show you whether it has slid anyway. A luthier friend of mine showed me this trick and I love it because I don't like pencil marks on the banjo head. Awesome. So I can now see that the bridge is level with the tape. So if it moves any further up or kind of pushes it away, I know roughly where it needs to be. As I mentioned, we're going to do one string at a time. So we're going to start with the middle G, and that means that the rest of the strings are going to be able to keep the bridge in place with the tension that is currently under. So to do this, we're just going to back off, tension again, kind of loosen the string so that when we cut it, it doesn't go flying and doesn't hurt us. See, that's nice and loose. I'm just going to snip it in the middle. And as you can see, everything's still on the banjo. It's not flown about. We now need the strings, so I'm going to look at the pack, and on the pack it's going to tell us which gauge string we need. The gauge is related to the thickness of the string, so a 9 is our lowest number, so it's going to be the thinnest. Then we have an 11, a 13, a 20 and a 9. Now if you're wondering which way these go, if you look at your banjo, the D string, your fourth string, is the widest one that you have. So that's the largest number. In that case, I can put them this way round and know that it goes 9, 20, 13, 11 and 9 again. Now, the good thing with this pack is that you get with quite a lot is all these strings are colour coordinated. So I'm going to put them in order now so that I don't incorrectly use the wrong string. So I need a silver, and then I need a purple, a green, a black, and then the fifth is red. So strings 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. As we're starting with the middle G, I need this guy. Be careful when you unwind the string as well. That way you don't put any unwanted kinks in it. So just kind of loosely, there we go, all set. Now on this banjo, we need to hook the loop over the bottom and then pass the string back through and over the bridge. There's two things we're going to do here. One is put ever so slight kink just in that top part to help us with an angle. And then at the bottom, after we just remove the paper, let's put an ever so slight kink in this bottom end as well, just so it stays over. So just a slight one, just so it stays over this loop, this hook at the bottom. Okay. This next part can be quite awkward. So you want to get the tuner so they're all kind of facing the same direction, so that when the hole is facing sort of upwards, so that when you place the string through, they will all go through and you're not trying to kink it or wind it round to begin with. Here we go. This next part can be quite awkward. So what we want is to be able to have a couple of winds around the cog at the top, so that then that holds the tension in. Think of like a rope, if you were to hold it just at the end, or you were to wrap it around your arm, and it gets that bit more sort of body and strength to it. That's going to help the string stay in tune. Okay, so what I'll do for that is I'm going to just put it on where it is. I want about 2 frets worth. So I'm going to hold it, I'm going to back it off a couple of frets, and then I can hold that there and I can start tightening the tuner. Well, this is the awkward part, so it will want to jump up and above, and sometimes it will, and you just have to start again. What I'm going to do is pass the string round. Okay. Just take it nice and slow, and if anything slips, just give it another go. So another pass I want to do. I've sent the string end underneath. And now it doesn't really matter if it goes over or under, but just take your time. I'm going to steadily tighten it until the tension comes through and the string goes where we need. At this point, I'm going to kink the string up, get it out of the way so that we can make it a little bit easier for tuning. I'm not going to bring it up to tune just yet. I'm just going to put enough tension on that it should hold everything in place. That will do us for now. I'm going to repeat the process for the next 3 of the 4. So I should take a moment to just say here that it's only the middle G string that needs to go under. So over and then under the tailpiece. The rest of them just need to fall and drop underneath the groove that's there. The joy of doing it 1 string at a time is you can see just by the one you've taken off what needs to happen. So I just have the 5th string remaining, and this one can pose people a few more problems than the others, but we are going to behave the same way. So we're going to loosen the tension, snip, line up the hole, but at this point we need enough string length for an extra couple turns round the cog, because it's going to be under such high tension. It needs that little bit more sort of support. So instead of backing it off 2 frets, I'm going to go to this 3rd. Okay, and the same again. Going to wrap it round. Right now, I'm not worried about it going in this 5th string, either railroad spike if you have one, or the little groove. I just want to get the string under a little bit of tension first to hold. Now it's approaching a closer tension. I want to be able to slide it into its groove and check it's in place. Now all the strings are on, we're going to stretch the strings, and that's going to ease the tension in them so they're less likely to snap, more likely to hold tune. Think of it like a balloon. If you don't stretch it before you blow it up, there's more chance of it popping. So just hold the string, and then just do this about 50 times for each string. Now we're finished with that, we'll bring the banjo up to tune. As it gets close to tune, but not quite where it needs to be, we're going to put that pressure back on the tailpiece. Same again, a couple of fingers, press down, and then screw in that thumb screw. Now we've got the tension under the tailpiece, we're going to bring the banjo up to full tune, which we might have to do 2 or 3 times while the strings settle. Now the banjo's in tune, I'm going to show you what to do with this string, and we're going to check if that bridge has moved. So let's see if our taping worked. Okay, so as you can see, the tape is still in line with each of the feet. So what we can now do before we set the intonation is just take the tape off. There are no pencil marks on our banjo. It's nice and clean, and in theory, the bridge should be pretty much where it needs to be. Now we have the banjo up to tune, we're going to set the intonation. What the intonation is relating to is making sure that the higher up that you play your notes on the banjo, that they all sound accurate and correct. And this is done by moving the bridge. So it's related to the sort of the relationship between where the bridge is and where the nut is at the top. And we can change that ourselves. So the way we're going to do this is by using the two D strings, so strings 1 and strings 4. And you're going to tune them up to pitch. I'm going to start on string 4. I'm happy that's in tune, so I'm now going to play it at the 12th fret and see what my tuner says. So my tuner is showing ever so slightly sharp. So what that now means is that as I would play higher and higher up the neck, the notes wouldn't sound right. So to then make that sound right, I just need to move this bridge a little bit. So because the note was showing as sharp when I played it on the 12th fret, the bridge needs to move towards the tailpiece. So I'm going to do this by holding it firmly between two hands and then just giving it that little shimmy, that little wiggle further down. It was really close, so it doesn't need much at all. But now what I have to do, because we've moved it, is going to send it probably just slightly out of tune. So I'm going to bring the string back up to tune again. So I'm happy that the string's in tune, open. Play it the 12th again. Still slightly off, so I'm going to repeat the process. That's now showing bang on. So we'll do that for the first string now. So tune in, back to pitch first. And then at the 12th. Now interestingly, at the 12th, string number 1 is showing a little flat. So what I have to do now is move just that side of the bridge a tiny bit towards the neck. So I will hold the bridge in place and just move the side I need to, just a fraction. It'll put the bridge on a slight angle, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, I'm happy where that is for now. I'll remove the tuner. Be very careful snipping the end of the strings off. And I'll show you what to do with this 5th string. So time and time again on banjo, when we've restrung them, we've just snipped this off here, and then when you're playing, you keep catching it, don't you? Okay, I'm going to show you the trick so that you don't do that again. What I'm going to do is take the string, and I'm going to pass it back through the hole. Okay, going to leave a tiny amount on this far side. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to snip this, and you should see the end just slide slightly back into the tuner. And now that my hand is out of the way, you can see that there is just a small loop just here. There's nothing sticking out at this side to catch your finger on. Now we've fully restrung the banjo. So the last thing to do, take a cloth of some variety, a microfiber or a cleaning cloth, and because we've been touching it, we've been adding oils from our fingers all on the metal work and the fretboard, just give it a quick wipe down. Now that's the banjo finished, brought back up to tune, just time to enjoy it.